Hat Talk Web is back. Well, a lot going on. A lot of cool parts are moving and grooving. Like I said, Ryan Grubb ends left tackle competition, announces Alabama starter for 2026. It was really interesting. He said it was Jackson Lloyd. Because when he was asked, he said, it's not a competition. He is the guy. So he is penciled in at left tackle, which is awesome. The only returning starter is Michael Carroll, as we know. And, Jackson Lloyd was a big star, 4-star recruit, according to 24/7 Sports composite rankings. He was the number 3 player in California. Rob ranked the number 7 lineman and the number 45th player overall in the whole class. So that speaks volumes of this young man. So it looks like he's going to be a plug-and-play guy to come in there. Now, he's freshman, so you're going to have a little grace, a little love on the guy, because he's going to make mistakes coming into the SEC to the Thunderdome. So there's that. Now, he will be a very integral part. He's going to be responsible for guarding the blind side of the new starting Alabama quarterback. Ryan Grubbs also had some cool analysis on the difference between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack amid the QB battle. He says, and I quote, Alabama Keelan is really, really good athlete, Grubbs told reporters. I think his feet probably come into play. I think you saw it in the Rose Bowl. Obviously, Austin can run a little bit. He had a scramble touchdown during the season as well. It's not like Austin can't run, but there is a piece of athleticism there with Keelan that's different from some guys. So, like we were saying in the last video, we know that Keelan Russell has got the scramble factor. Austin Mack can scramble, but he's not dangerous. He's not going to burn you for 20 yards or 30 yards or even really a touchdown unless it's a goal line situation because he's a big body guy at 6'4", 220 plus, right? Keelan has got the feet, right? So that's the big difference. Now, we said last video, it also hinges on the fact that how good is that offensive line? Adrian Clem has the toughest job in the SEC of any position coach, period. I don't care if it's offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is a tough, tough job. We've had just a nutsack offensive line for 5+ years, and it only got worse under Coach Cap the last 2 years. So he's going to have to revive it. We're not asking for a great offensive line. We need manageable. We need 120 yards a game, period. Hopefully we can just get 100, but 120 is what we're shooting for. Plus, if we can get that for balance, we got to have that. We got a new quarterback. We got to lean on the run a little bit. Now, also, Ryan Grubb says, as far as arm talent, they're both extremely talented as far as pushing the ball all over the field. There's not going to be a throw I have in a game plan that I have for one, but couldn't be with the other guy. Both have quick releases. Accuracy is something they're both working on. It's a point. Let's look at that. But very similar guys. I don't think other than Keelan's feet, there's a massive difference other than his size. So we know that Keelan is a little bit smaller. Austin Mack is huge. He's a Mon Daddy at 6'4", 220 plus. Keelan's more of a 6'2" guy, 180, 195. Now, his feet is the difference maker. Now, I think the battle will go all the way through the spring. I think it could go up until the summer. To the first game, honestly. I've said this, and I'm going to stand by this unless I'm proven wrong, because they're both having accuracy issues, right? So if one of them pulls ahead in that game, that scheme quicker, and is more on the ball with accuracy, I think he'll win the game. But the other thing it hinges on is how good is the offensive line? We do not know. We absolutely don't know. And like I said, with Jackson Lloyd getting that starting left tackle spot, being an incoming guy, and being young, that also is a factor. How good can they block? How good can they pass block? But, and that's the thing. And so with that being said, it's going to hinge on that offensive line. How quick can they gel? How quick can they pass block? Especially in that pass blocking, they got to be locked down. And if they're not that, you got to go with Keelan Russell. If accuracy is all the same. If Austin Mack or Keelan Russell and the accuracy is the same, you're going to have to go with a guy that can move in the pocket. Because if not, you're going to be stuck with Austin Mack, who sits there, looks like a Carson Beck, and gets his ass slung around because he can't run. He's not mobile. So that's something to watch throughout this spring and into the summer ball. And that'll be something also to watch in the spring game. So we'll be tracking that. One thing Ryan was saying, he singled out some other guys doing really great. We said this in the last video too. Racing Delgatti is doing great. Caden Strayhorn's also going to be battling to determine who will anchor that offensive line as well. And he said, Ron Grubb in his great quote, he said, Racing Delgatti has been doing an awesome job at center. So this tells me he's probably got the job right now, barring injury or whatever. He's really taken reins so quickly. I'm so excited to see him out there. So that's another great thing. I think that so we've got those guys right now. So we can go ahead and pencil in Racing Delgatti, Jackson Lloyd at left tackle, and like I said, we got Michael Carroll. So we got at least 2 more 5-down lineman spots open for grabs, gentlemen. So that's what we're looking at. I foresee one of the highly touted freshmen coming and getting that. But then again, we still got Brooks. You still got Strayhorn who can move around, and you've got Ty Haywood, highly recruited guy out of Michigan. So it's all up for grabs. May the best man win. Now, what we're seeing on these practice videos so far, right, gentlemen? We are seeing the guys in the 1s and 2s getting the snaps. One thing that was a little surprising is we're seeing Hill and Riley and Deere get a lot of most of the snaps. Crowell's in there some. I do think later in the season he's going to be pulling ahead, and it depends on how much we use the run and how good the offensive line is in that. But what we're seeing from these videos, and it's just videos, right? This is not set in stone. It's not official. But it looks like Hill, Riley, and Deere, then Crowell have the majority of snaps. Also, we're seeing at wide receiver, it looks like Coleman Williams, formerly the wide receiver formerly known as Ryan Williams, he's got the number 1 spot. Number 2 spot, it looks like it's going to be Brooks, Lot Zero Brooks. The number 3 seems like it's Noah Rogers, to be honest. He had better production last year. Seems to be him, and then Scott, right? Rico Scott. And then Morgan's been coming on strong. They've been saying in these practice stuff and the stuff we're gleaning that he's a menace. This guy's 6'4", 220, unstoppable in the red zone. A lot of people has quoted and alluded to Julio Simpson vibes. Now, for me, I don't know. I hadn't seen the guy play, but he looks very good inside the red zone. So with that being said, awesome. We need that guy because, we had Isaiah Horton leave. He was that big body guy, that 6'4" dude to get you those points in the end zone, go up and get it, right? So with that being said, Morgan is an exciting thing that we're seeing. Now, we're going to talk about the offensive line again, and what we're kind of seeing too. Michael Carroll, right tackle. So what it's looking like right now, right? Left tackle, Jackson Lloyd. Racing Delgatti looks to be center, right? And you could also put Brooks maybe at left guard, maybe with Sanders. Sanders is more the starter, I would think. Then Brooks. Maybe you got Haywood. Ty Haywood is your left tackle backup. And then Caden Strayhorn is your guard. And like I said, we'll see. It seems like he could be a backup, but I really think he could move left or right guard as well. He's got that availability there. So we'll just have to see how it pans out. Super excited. Everybody's, looking at everything and going back and forth. The other battle's going on. I don't know if it's a battle because it seems like, the tight end is a spot that Caleb Edwards kind of has that number 1 spot. Then you got Danny Lewis. And you got Marshall Pritchett. I know a lot of guys are down on him. A lot of people are like, oh, God, all he does is drop balls. Yeah, he was a young guy. But that's what the spring is for. That's what the summer's for, to get this hashed out. And you've also got the tight end coming in, the true freshman. There was a big 4-star we got coming in. And you've got Josh Ford coming in from Oklahoma State. So this is all, the wheels are all churning. This is what we're seeing in the practice videos. It could change. Injuries could change. All this could change. It's all fluctuating and moving. So that'll be cool to see going forward. Well, that's really all I got for you guys today. Hopefully I have another video out tomorrow, the day after, depending on what's going on. I got a lot going on at work, even though it's my off day. May have to go on for a little bit. Anyway, love you guys. Tide Talk Web is out.